Shivananda Yoga Camp, Balmoral, Quebec, Canada. This silent film is from 1964.
Represent the air or gas, Vayu, and the fire, navel, water, Swadhisthana, and Mooladhara, earth. And you withdraw the earth into water, water into fire, fire into air, air into ether, ether into the mind, Mahat, Mahat into the Brahman or Shiva. So the same called Laya, withdrawing from the cause. What is the cause of the earth, this matter, the solid matter? It came from liquid state, that is molten state. The earth is still, before the earth was in this cool state, inside still there is molten lava. You can see through volcanoes. And so the top portion cooled off, and that became this piece of iron. So you can go in some of the volcanic, what do you call the craters. You see that all that molten things all now solid matter, you see. So it came not as solid, it came from as liquid fire, you see. Liquid means, water means not, we are talking about anything liquid, you see. So the matter originally existed, and then that became condensed into form of solid earth, you see. And that water, that liquid, molten lead came from before, was only existed in the fire. That means like sun. Sun is nothing but burning of gases. That's all. Sun, there's nothing solid. It's all burning of gas there. And then, so that burning fire, what you call sun, came from where? All the stars came from there. Before it started burning stars, it was only gases. The primordial clouds, they were churning. And this spiraling, these things then brought that burning gas, afterwards it became fire. And before that burning gas, what was that? It was only ether. There was no name or form. It's only primordial energy, the waves, just like electrons and protons and neutrons, all nothing but waves. It existed. This matter existed in that state. Before that, it existed only in the thought state of the Shakti, unmanifest Shakti, and that came from Shiva. Shiva and Shakti separated, you know that. So what we are trying to do is to bring, instead of Shiva, we call it Atman. We are withdrawing all this. This body is made up of 5 elements. That gross body is been absorbed the water, liquid is withdrawn into the air, air into the ether, ether into the gas into the ether, ether into the mind into the Atmic self. I am that. I am not all this. It's called Laya Chintana. Read the Kundalini Yoga, you will understand that, how the Laya is been done, you see. So, okay. Is matured enough. So also muscle fibers of a baby, the same as when he grows old, the same number of muscle fibers, but its strength will increase. It's not quantity will increase, the quality. Quantity is the same. Just like the quantity of the muscles, the quality of the muscles change as you grow old, and same way your emotions and mental activities also will change as the body grows, so that the mind can function in a well-developed body. The mind can function in a well-defined way. But there is a natural tendency for the body as well as the mind to change. And these changes are divided basically into 4. That's called 4 ashrams. Western psychologists never learned about these 4 states of mind, nor they know about what is sublimation. the first stages of the four states of life, first stage, we call it brahmacharya, means literally a celibate, but that is not the meaning there. A period of learning. Here his first stage of sublimation starts. As the body of a young growing boy or a girl is not matured enough to create another being like a grown-up adult, though all the organs and the process are there, but it's not matured enough. So that state where the creative power cannot be used for creating another being or procreation, but we do use that same energy, the later stage what we use for procreation, for learning. A child can learn a language very easily. There is certain portions of the brain where this energy is being brought so that the language become very easy for the child. But as a grown-up, you want to study a new language, it's very difficult. You know that. So the energy what we use in study period is the same energy sublimated properly. And when it's properly channeled, this energy then become what you call like fruits, like arts, music, science, philosophy. So that's called the brahmacharya period, means sublimated to that particular way. There is not much in that state to take a partner or to live with a partner, though there is friendships that exist, but there is no commitment in that friendship, a permanent commitment. It is more a social friendship. Even if there are companionship, it is social. It is not emotionally completely involved in any form to make any permanent commitments. So that's the first step of sublimation called brahmacharya. And they also use in the ancient days to sublimate this energy properly and channel it as a growing person, girl or boy. There comes maturity. There is a kind of time where the hormones will slowly start creating tremendous stress on the body and nervous system. And as a growing child or a growing person still do not understand this power of this psychic energy, creative force, many psychological problems can come by suppressing. Then by indulging, you get into another type of problem. Suppression and indulgence both are not allowed. Then what? That's called sublimation. Neither suppressing nor expressing. We'll come to that later on. So in the first stage, sublimation is done. Most of the energy has been spent in studying, to learn things, science, arts, philosophy, whatever it is, according to man's inclination. He uses that energy in that direction. But ancient days, they also taught them how to sublimate this the energy further and make it into Ojas Shakti, spiritual energy. The same energy can be used downward, which is easy, as the water goes downward from the higher to low, water flows. But when the same water is heated, it go up as water vapor or steam. But this H2 or the molecules are the same, hydrogen and oxygen molecule. But in one state, the same molecules will go downward. But when it is heated, the same molecule will go upward. And then again when it condenses, it comes down in the form of rain. Same way, this energy, Shakti, the procreative and creative energy, you learn to sublimate from the childhood onwards through pranayama and japa, Gayatri. Gayatri is one of the important mantras taught to all children in the Gurukula system. All boys coming to age, they must get this initiation, and that's called entering into manhood, where he is, from the very childhood, they learn the art of repeating a mantra and pulling the energy up and making it subtler, so it will go upward instead of going downward. So the pranayama and the mantras are taught. Twice Sandhya Vandana they call it, sunset time and sunrise time. They must repeat this. So that is original tradition, but it's all lost now. But the purpose was that to make a child aware of this energy and he is able to handle it when he reaches full maturity. So that's the first sublimation. Then second stage sublimation, second stage of ashram, you call it Grihastha ashram. Study period is over. After a child spend about 20 years, 22 years with the teacher, and then with the teacher's permission, he goes and finds a true partner in his life, a spiritual partner. And this spiritual partner, you call it wife or whatever it is called Ardhangini, half of man. There's a word given for wife, we don't call it wife, Ardha Angini. Ardha means half of his body. That is two aspects, male and the female. So Shiva and Shakti. So Shakti aspect. That means he is going to unite himself with that Shakti aspect for the preservation and the creation of the future progenies. The same, what is happening in macrocosm, his body united with another Shakti become microcosm and miniature creative state, creative power, a miniature creation, literally. But here again, that energy must be properly utilized. Though he takes a partner with Guru's permission and then follows all the strict rules and regulations related to that family life, it is not for indulgence, even that is for sublimation, but in a way, because sublimation, 100% sublimation of this energy takes long practice and several lives. It is the most difficult thing in spiritual path. because I'm not talking the sexual energy in a negative term. It is the power which creates the galaxies. All that, anything where there's energy, strength, power, is all nothing but this energy. So the very energy which creates cosmic infinite number of galaxies are the same energy which is within you in the form of creative power. A small amount is there, like a small battery. But it cannot go on discharge day and night like a car battery. It can use it to start the car, but if it goes on starting all the time, the battery will be dead. So a small time you can start the car, and then the generator will take charge of the rest of the work, and simultaneously the battery has been recharged. So you cannot merely start, but also you must recharge. The same amount of energy is spent for starting. The same way, that Shakti is hidden in all of us as Kundalini Shakti. That's the most powerful energy. Only being activated in the lower centers, lower chakras, or lower plexus, or where there is all the energy can be tapped. That's a terminal area where you can tap the energy. Advanced yogis can tap the energy in the upper centers, but ordinary human beings can only tap this energy in the lowest, in a very low voltage. Upper centers, the voltage are very high and frequencies are very high. But in the lower chakra, the lowest chakra, Swadhisthana, Mooladhara and Swadhisthana, central and sexual centers, we can tap it and we get a mild type of ecstasy. When you eat hot dogs and hamburgers or ice cream or pizza, a mild ecstasy you get out of it. So also when you have sexual experience, you get also a mild type of ecstasy. But this energy which has to come from higher state to lower state, and then it's been used for this purpose, it's been depleted for a long time. Again you have to recharge. So what you call then sublimation is, we are not allowing this energy to come from the very high states and high velocity or higher voltage and wavelengths to lower voltage. Example is again this light. Our household light is 110 voltage, 60 cycles. It only oscillates 60 times, 110 volt. But originally, its original source where it comes from the big dynamo or power sources, there must be 20,000, 50,000 voltage current coming through high tension wire, and it is brought down to low voltage. And further it can be brought still further low voltage for the tape recorders and so forth. It's mostly function with 6 volt and 12 volt current. And again we can increase its wavelength by very high frequency or ultra high frequency to radio spectrum, and then it can move without the wire. In a low voltage and low cycle, it needs a transmission wire. But when it becomes very high frequency, like radio spectrum, then you don't need this wire. You can transmit, called wireless transmission, as started radio transmission. Then it takes the atmosphere itself as the, and then its velocity increased to tremendous speed, at almost the speed of light it goes. That means it will 186,000 miles per second, it can move on. So the higher frequency, its wavelength as well as frequency increases, it also becomes very powerful and reach far ahead in a very short period. So that's called sublimation in the scientific terms, just to give you a mental picture. Again, what I am talking is not exactly, but just to give a mental picture, similarity is there. These are the very similar experience you get it too. So even in the Grihastha ashram, this energy cannot be merely continuously being violated and spent unnecessarily. Then your body and mind become very weak. And also, catabolic process increases. You already know the anabolic process and catabolic process, two type of process. The process of repairing and process of wastage. All creative experience is catabolic process. So in every time you have a sexual experience, you are losing tremendous amount of this energy and your bodily strength weakens and mind become less and less able to receive the high and pure voltage in its purest form. It can only oscillate in a very low frequency afterwards. So even in the Grihastha period, there is celibacy, a certain type of control. Within the limit only they can use that energy for procreation. They must learn to sublimate, but not suppress. Suppression is not possible because no power on this earth can suppress this energy. Because that's the divine energy separated which created all this universe. Nobody has got the power. Complete sublimation is possible only when you surrender to God and God's grace. No other way. Your own effort and strength is not sufficient. So through japa, you sublimate. When you repeat japa, mantras, you automatically sublimate that energy. It could become finer and purer due to power of mantra. Because thought, prana, and sexual energy all interrelated. They are all the manifestation of the same energy. Triple. So thought, prana, and sexual energy. Wherever thought goes, there is prana and sexual energy. Wherever there goes sexual energy goes where thought and prana also go. So there are no way you can separate these three energies. They are part and parcel of our life. So when you repeat japa, that energy becomes powerful, pure, like steam. It starts going upward. This is called sublimation. So it is not suppression. Suppression, no one has got the power to suppress this energy. Even yogis and swamis, we all fail in this one place. Test come, we all fail. So it is not easy. The more you do japa, pranayama, etc., then you can sublimate. So one way is japa. Second is pranayama. It's very important for especially young people if you want to sublimate, because it gives you strength and energy will be automatically pushed upward, automatically like a steam. So regular pranayama, if you are not doing pranayama just for maybe oxygen sake to get the sublimation, and then japa, pranayama plus chantings, Hare Rama, Om Namah Shivaya, like this we are chanting, and these including asanas, this all will slowly will sublimate it. That headstand is very important also for sublimation. And that energy, physiologically and physically, also it turns the energy downward. So shoulder stand, all the inverted positions do help to lesser degree, but still asanas are important too. Asana, pranayama, japa, kirtan, naturally right diet. If you take non-vegetarian diet, that will make it your energy crude and gross. That animal magnetism, that just the animal flesh, that animal magnetism, everything has got magnetism. Everything oscillates and vibrates with a specific wavelength. So that animal food, animal flesh will create tremendous disturbances in your psychic system. And energy again will be polluted and resistance will increase in the nervous system. It won't be sublimated properly at all. So vegetarian diet This is why in all monastic life, doesn't matter which religion you see, all the monastic life, the celibacy is the first and foremost thing. That's the most difficult thing also for them. Look in Catholic priests, they cannot marry. It's because of the celibacy. Same with you, just go to nuns, etc. In every kind of religious, top religious place you go, that celibacy is the most important. It is not a sinful action. That's not because if you want to develop and increase your consciousness and awareness in higher level, you cannot bring that into low voltage and low frequency. It must be sublimated up. So that's why they go to deserts and forests, and most of all the great prophets, really great, like Buddha, he renounced and became a celibate, left his wife and child and left the palace. So Buddha, so Moses. You can look into their life, that all the real great prophets and all the ancient monastic orders, the priesthood, doesn't matter which religion you belong to, this celibacy is inherent. Only the Western psychologists do not understand what that means. Celibacy they don't understand at all. We are not talking suppressing this energy. It is not possible. Nobody has got the strength. But when you repeat the spiritual things, that's why monastic art, they observe silence. When you observe silence also, this energy will be slowly sublimated. So observation of silence, even ethics and moral perfection necessary also. Truth, telling the truthfulness. If you are establishing truth, you will be establishing celibacy too. It's all interrelated. One will lead to another. So if you are establishing celibacy, you will be establishing truth and kindness, compassion and love, cosmic love. It's all will be natural for you. So all these are interrelated subjects. So that's the second type of sublimation. In the Grahastha period, they use it only in a very prescribed manner and control that energy. At that time, even the love between husband and wife will be very pure and very sublime and holy. It is no more a physical attraction, because the physical attraction will stop as soon as this energy is gone. A dead body you try to touch, it has got, though how beautiful it is, the person might be very beautiful, and yet there is no prana, is no more breathing. You don't want to even touch that body. Even if you touch, you want to wash your hands immediately. See, so it is not that what the body you are attracted, that prana, and then some people prana is magnetism is more. At that time you are attracted to that person. So younger generations, this prana is still, because the battery is new, that sexual energy is tremendous, and that's why attraction is increasing. But as a child or two are born to the wife and to the husband, and her energy is been now divided between the sexual experiences plus the growing up, the bringing up the children. Her portion of the sexual energy is been now diverted. Prana is diverted to bring up the children. So there is tremendous catabolic process especially in the woman than in man, because this creative force, she has to take more responsibility than man, because menstruation, gestation and lactation, these three processes are catabolic, and this man has got no part to play with these three periods: menstruation, gestation and lactation. But woman, her own body comes in this three way. She has to feed that fetus, that in the uterine lymph. Her own energy has been used by the growing fetus, and then she has lactation. When the baby is born, she has to use her own milk, which has been formed to feed the baby, or mammals do that. So this energy is a very catabolic process. That's why in India, a marriage between a male and the female, they kept 8 to 10 years difference to overcome this, because a female matures very fast, reach puberty very early age than male. Male reach puberty and maturity quite later age, and here doesn't have to go these three: menstruation, gestation and lactation. So he can retain his youthful life longer period in the later years. But as soon as the woman has got the first child, she loses this energy, and she has spent that same energy to bring up the child, and most of her psychological mind is constantly thinking of the baby and baby's welfare. It's been built to that. That's how the psychology is. So her psychic system has been taking and drawing tremendous amount of this high voltage into that area too. She is suffering tremendously. So when they've said 10 years difference between the male and the female, so even the male grows slower, but this age difference will be seen as the years go by. So the man will be seeing his wife as always young. So that's why these differences are kept in our ancient system. Of course, nowadays you don't have this system. See, as long as you feel immediately emotionally involved, you get married, and later on you just take all the consequences. So the second stage called the grihastha. There is pranayama also there. Asana, pranayama are taught. Even to householders, they must practice what they learned in the Gurukula system and lead a very perfect and pure life. At that time, the children are brought into that type of family. They become very powerful force because the magnetic current coming from their divine parents itself is sufficient to make them to be a very powerful people too. Plus they draw the great souls, advanced souls into their family, not ordinary souls. So there is how you can draw a very advanced spiritual and very evolved soul to your family as your child is depending upon your own sublimation and amount of energy you have. And the third stage, you finish. That life is over. And I'll continue the sublimation tomorrow morning because this takes time. I think it's 9:30.